Hello there. Today I am going to talk to you about the contrast between overembellishment and expanded offerings. What do I mean by this? I have been observing that there are a lot of mm, coaches, gurus, online, influencers, thought leaders, um, experts. And I air quoted that for a reason, and I'll get into that in a second. And there is this trend that I've noticed among these so-called experts that they will do things that aren't necessary because either they're so um, entrenched in their one niche that they're getting caught in their own weeds. This is what I'm telling clients all the time. Stop getting stuck in the weeds. You're just getting down into the minutia. And and instead of these leaders, the people that people are going to for help and advice and support, instead of helping people get out of the weeds, they're getting them all sucked into the weeds even more. And I would like to sprinkle in a couple of examples along the way while I'm discussing this. Um, so one of the things is that they some of them tend to be a jerk to look important. Like they will call out something, they'll nitpick something, they'll get on your case about something. Heck, I've even seen coaches scream at their clients for something that is so inconsequential, and yet they're re-traumatizing the clients. See, there's coaches out there that can help you move past unresolved trauma, and then there are some coaches out there that are actively causing trauma to their clients right now. And this is why I wanted to do this video, because I think this is entirely unfair to people to be paying somebody to help them, and instead they're acting like a drill sergeant. They're yelling and screaming and belittling them and making them feel like crap because they're doing some stupid little thing. Like one of them was, I'm trying not to get too in detail here because I don't want to call anybody out in particular, but um, there was one there was one lady who the coach is a speaking coach, and he said, "Oh well, when you presented, when you share your screen, make sure you're ready to go with the presentation." Now, I use Canva for my presentations, and honestly, I've been doing it a while, and I have yet to figure out how to have it be presenting while I'm clicking the button to share my screen, because you're either going to see the Zoom screen where you can share, or you're either going to see the screen where you can click the present button. The only way to get around this is if you have two screens. So I guess basically this person was pissed off that the lady that was trying to speak didn't have two screens, so she couldn't set it up like this. But honestly, I thought her presentation was killer. And I she it was like you saw the present screen before it was actually in presentation mode for like a split second. Like it was not that big of a deal. It's like um, a mom yelling at a kid in a store where the kid is just being a kid and they're not really bothering anybody. And then the mom goes, "Quit it! You're being a nuisance!" And they're calling attention to themselves more than they are to the kid, but they are oblivious to this happening. So this was just one of those things where I was like, wow, she did an incredible job. And he was being completely unfair. And I'm sure as a result, that woman was crying that night instead of being happy that she did such a great job. And my thought was, why the heck is he making a big deal out of this? And then I realized it was because he wanted to look important. he wanted to look like the guy who knew all the things so that he would be able to fine tune all these little things. And then, for some people out there, they really do want that drill sergeant-y kind of coach. They want to be like, you didn't do it this way. You did it this way. You didn't put your arm like this. You put your arm like this. Like these little tiny things, which in a sports setting, maybe that would make sense. In an Olympic setting, maybe that would make sense. But they're taking on that kind of coaching style for no reason, except to somehow appeal to the audience and that would they would go, oh well, he can fine tune me like that. I don't get it. I personally don't get it because I am not motivated by the the kick your butt style of coaching. I'm more motivated more by the reinforcement, the reassurance, the support, the positive feedback. I guess a lot of people out there, as a matter of fact, really, really like to get their butt kicked and they're willing to pay massive bucks for it. But I never got that. And so there was another example where somebody had a social media page. It was like a social media page review, like your profile, right? And she had a background graphic and like the main cover image of her profile. And the so-called expert went off on her for about half an hour about this is what you need to do. And then he showed a bunch of examples. And honestly, the examples he showed were so lame and so ridiculous. I was like, wait, she has a really epic header on her profile. And you're telling her to go and get rid of that epic picture to do something like this over here, which is like just stupid. It was just basic. It wasn't designed. It was just like a solid background and some text and a logo. So it was just like, oh, because of the text and logo, then, somehow it made up for the fact that, in my mind, I was thinking a picture is worth 1,000 words. She found the perfect picture that embodied her business without having to add any words. But he blew past that completely. And he was saying, oh, you need to follow these other people. Well, first of all, you can just follow other people's examples without having to go and pay some coach, a major amount of money to tell you to go and look at those examples. Okay. Why would you pay somebody thousands of dollars to just say, oh, well, go do what Tony Robbins is doing on his social media page? I mean, duh. That's kind of obvious, Emulate the people that are successful. So the whole point of that half an hour endeavor was, in my opinion, pointless and counterproductive because he was trying to fix something that wasn't even broken. So this is something that a lot of coaches are doing. They're trying to fix something that isn't broken. And this goes back to the looking important piece because they want you to feel like you need their help, even if you have it dialed in. So somebody can have the perfect LinkedIn profile with all the messaging dialed in, with the perfect graphics and everything. And then if they go to a LinkedIn expert that's hired by people to fix their LinkedIn profile, well, of course they're going to nitpick it. Of course they're going to make up stuff that you need to do to make it look better. Or because you're not following a formula 100%, they'll call you out on it, but it's not really helping you. And that is kind of lending into a similar topic, but it's the fact that people don't really know why their marketing isn't working. So even if they have their LinkedIn profile dialed in 100%, it still might not be converting because they're not doing other things like reaching out to people, following up with people, making connections, being authentic, building relationships, all of these things. So because of this other missing piece over here that has nothing to do with this over here, if you're the expert in this over here, you're going to say, oh, this is what you need to do. You need to fix this over here. Just never mind all that stuff over there, Never mind the man behind the curtain. You need this over here more than anything, because that's what I'm an expert in. And then the other part of this is the over embellishment, where you're beating a dead horse because somebody wanted to learn more about this so that they feel confident in being able to use it in their marketing. Or oh, let's take AI. AI is a hot topic these days, and everybody's jumping on the AI bandwagon. So now what you have is AI experts that are doing nothing but churning, prompting, doing this whole big AI thing. Okay, listen, the people that are having trouble with AI are technologically challenged. Okay, they are not good with tech. And they don't want to be good with tech because they want to go do their thing. They don't want to sit here stuck in the minutia of AI and getting lost in the weeds and and spending all their time there. They're spending more time doing all of these crazy little exercises than they would be just getting it banged out and using AI as a virtual assistant and getting the stuff done that they need to get done and moving on to the next thing so they can actually start selling, so they can actually start lead generating. But instead, if you're the AI guru, then you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, you need to make this more juicy and blah, 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 and you need to re-prompt 40 times on the same thing. And you need to do all these crazy things and you need to answer this 150 questionnaire all about yourself in order to program the AI with your voice. And I am going to make a video where you can bypass all that crap and just make the AI have your voice like that. So stay tuned for that one. Uh, but it's this, oh, this is just like complete saturation in this thing. And I get it. It's because we're always saying niche down, niche down, niche down. Don't be a master of all, be a master of one thing and just go deep. Don't go wide. But there comes a certain point where you're dragging your clients down with you into this rabbit hole instead of going and doing the things that will help you build your business. It's like you have to read the whole dictionary in order to talk. That's a really good example of what a lot of AI gurus are doing. They're telling you, oh, well, you need to read this entire dictionary, and then and only then can you communicate with other people. That's what they're doing. And I don't know anybody who's read the entire dictionary. Do you? I mean, kudos if you have. That's awesome. That is brilliant, but it's not necessary. It's not the thing that is going to move the needle. And giving people these overly complicated prompting processes are not going to make non-techie people better at being able to achieve what they're trying to achieve because now they're in a deeper quagmire than they were before. Instead of being able to go to chat GPT and get in and get out and get what they need in 5 minutes, they're going to spend months. They are going to spend months on it. And if you are trying to become an AI expert, then I guess that makes sense. But in the real world of, entrepreneurship and running your own business, a lot of this stuff is just complete over embellishment for no reason. It's just overcomplicating what's already complicated. You're not helping them. What I like to do is I like to help people with AI by simplifying the process. See, I like to go in the opposite direction. Less is more. You want to get the results, you want to get the right results, but it's insane. I'm sorry I'm going into this, but kind of complements this topic, which is beating a dead horse. So how many different ways can you teach the same thing and make it look like it's something different? And it's just like, no, stop trying to do that. The people that are coming to you for help don't want you to overcomplicate the process. They don't want you to make it this big elaborate thing like they're trying to build a rocket. Okay? So why are they doing all of these things? And I could go into a little segue here. I might be editing this out, but um, I noticed another thing that people are uh, trying to dumb down their AI instead of rising up and letting AI teach them. I'll give you an example. One of the things that I've heard lots of people talk about now, lots of people mentioning that the M dash that a lot of uh, Chat GPT output is producing is a sign of AI. So people are trying to disguise the fact that they're using AI and there's telltale words like unlock and unleash, right? So if you use AI a lot, you're going to see it saying unlock, unleash, unlock, unleash, unlock, unleash. And like, okay, come on. Come on, AI. Come up with different words, okay? But the M dash is a big one because I've heard this from maybe 5 or 6 different people now, and I'm like, okay, no, that's not an AI thing. An M dash is a real thing. You just have never written to that level of sophistication before. And I'm, coming from a publishing background, and I've been in publishing for over 20 years now, and it's an actual thing. It's an actual usable thing that writers um, use. An M dash. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the extra long dash, and it typically doesn't have a space before or after it. And it's like an emphasis thing, like a semicolon, right? So um, if you don't know how to use that, and then you see it being generated all the time, of course you're going to say, "Oh, that's an AI thing. It's a sign of the AI wrote this." But if you are in the writing world and you know what it is and you know how to use it, then that's not the case. But now, because there's so many people out there that have been told that an M dash equals AI generated this, now I have to go in and delete them. Now I have to stop using them. Here's another example. When I started using AI to help me write emails, one of the things it started doing is, I hope this email finds you well. And before that, I did not use that line. But once I saw that, I really liked that line. And so I took that on. I am evolving because of AI. And instead of deleting it from the email because it's a sign of I started using it even when I'm not using AI because it's a polite, friendly thing to do. I hope this email finds you well. Heck, I hope this video finds you well. Maybe I should be saying that at the beginning of every video. But instead of dumbing down AI and saying, "Oh no, no, don't do that anymore," I've embraced that. So embrace AI. This is part of the process of being able to have AI work to your advantage is embracing AI or any technology for that matter. Just embrace it. Another thing that a lot of coaches do is placing restrictions on people. And again, this could be a particular teaching style that some people like. It's like the carrot or the stick. What's motivating you? The carrot or the stick? For me, it's the carrot. I like chasing after that carrot. That's woo, I'll chase after that carrot all day long. But there's some personalities out there that I guess are drawn towards the stick. They want their coach to beat them up. Call me out on that. Tell me I'm a jerk. You know, don't let me get away with anything. Call me out on my BS. Make me cry. It's like you're paying a bully to lord over you. Does that feel like coaching to you? I mean, maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe that is motivational for people. Maybe it's even effective. But I, for one, like the journey. I want the whole process to be something that I love. if I'm suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering, and then I get to the result, they say that the result is more important than the journey, some people, but I am one who wants the whole thing to be enjoyable. I'm making progress, making progress, making progress, making progress. But I'm still capturing those wins. I'm still excited about the things that I've achieved, and then I eventually get my result. But there are some people that are just like, do it, do it, do it, keep on going, do it, do it. And then they're downtrodden, but then it's like they're being beat across the line. So they're like just laying on the ground before they get to the finish line, and the coach is just like whacking them with the stick until they move forward. And then they're like, "Well, I got you the results. Aren't you happy now?" I mean, hey, to each their own. And if that's you, more power to you. Go ahead and go pay those people. But honestly, I I have been subjugated by abusive bosses enough in my life that I never want a boss again. And the reason I put up with that being yelled at and screamed at and belittled on a regular basis was because I was getting paid. But I would not pay anybody any amount of money, let alone tens of thousands of dollars, to do that to me. And honestly, ever since I've stopped having a boss, my self-respect has gone up, my confidence has gone up, my self-reliance has gone up, my self-motivation has gone up. And I noticed that I'm magnetized by coaches that are more on the side of not just cheerleading, but looking at the positive side of things. Well, your week was crap, but did you have any wins this week? Oh, you had a win. Great. That's awesome. Celebrate that. I want more of that in my life. I want more celebration. I want more happiness. And so you can't drag me through the mud and make me miserable in the name of getting the result. Because you can get to the result this way or this way. This way is being dragged through the mud the entire time, and this way is frolicking and skipping and loving life. I would rather do this way. Heck, I would go this way even if the results were half the results that I would get this way. But that's just me. People are motivated by different things. So I guess find the style that works for you. But if I'm paying somebody tens of thousands of dollars, I want the red carpet treatment. I do not want restrictions. I don't want to be treated like a kindergartner. Oh, don't chew gum. Oh, don't you talk. Oh, don't you, make sure you're on camera the entire time. Don't, show up early. Don't leave early. Make sure you're here the whole time. If you don't show up for every event, if you don't show up for every meeting, we're gonna punish you. We're gonna, make an example out of you. So I don't get it. I don't get why people pay to be treated like crap. I've been treated like crap enough in my life that I'm just done. I don't want any more of it. I'm not going to pay for it. So if you also don't like being treated like crap, reach out. I like coaching and consulting in a way that is encouraging to people and respectful. You don't need to disrespect your clients. I don't understand it. I don't see any reason for it whatsoever. What I want to focus on is actually helping people. And one of the things that I talked about in another video is expanded offerings. So there are two things that you can do as a coach or consultant. One is to drag people down into this rabbit hole with you where you're going deeper and deeper into this one subject, which is what everybody says, right? Everybody's saying to do this, so it should be true, right? Just over embellish on this one subject. Make this whole, make this one little piece of the puzzle the most important piece that you're just going to elaborate on to the nth degree. Because if you're going deep instead of wide, that's where the money is, right? Hey, maybe I'm still figuring this out, but for me right now, from my perspective, this does not make sense. What makes more sense is people are entering into the world of this little thing right here that you are an expert at. Now that you have taken them into the journey of fixing the problem that they had in this arena, now instead of keeping them there inside of this cage of this one little thing and saying, but you still need more help on this, but you still need more help on this one thing. This is the only thing that's standing in your way. I'm going to open the cage and be like, okay, now that we've solved this one thing, let's open the cage. And now we have all these other problems because every solution apparently has more problems that's involved. So now that you've solved this problem, what is the next problem that you're stumbling into? Let's fix that problem. What is the next problem that you're stumbling into? Let's fix that problem. What's the next problem? Fix that. What's the next problem? Fix that. And then you have this grander broadening, this expansion of their competencies and their confidence and their abilities and their skills and their wisdom that they can move on to these other things. And so now, if they're entering into your world through this focal point, this certain thing, LinkedIn profile, let's optimize your LinkedIn profile, or let's dial in your speech, or whatever it is, right? Now that let's coach you through that to get you 100% right there, or hell, 90%. Even if you're 90% of the way there, you don't have to be 100%. 100% is down in the weeds. You don't need to be in the weeds. You can just get there to 90%, right? You got that good enough. You're probably at the top 1% of the people on the planet now because you know almost everything about this one topic. Okay, now let's expand outward from there. What other things are involved with this? Because in the world of marketing, it's not just one thing. It's this whole network of things, and it's connecting those things together the right way. It's creating a system. It's going through a process. So you're coming in through that focal point, getting good at that, solving that problem, and now going on to all of these other things out here that we could be working on. It's like, okay, you've got your AI prompting down. Now you can write a nurture email sequence. What are you going to do with the nurture email sequence? Is it just going to sit in a Word document somewhere? You have to implement it, right? So, okay, wow, we've got a great email sequence. Let's dial this in by going into your CRM and setting it up as an automation to go out without you having to go in and manually sending it out every time. Oh, well, how do you do that? Oh, I don't have a CRM. What's a CRM? Okay, now we can start bringing in new concepts and new topics and expanding your world. So it's like you go in like a laser beam in one thing, and it's just like at the beginning of a movie where you go in and then you zoom out. And then you see the entire landscape and you see the environment around. And it's just your vision is expanding, your perception is expanding, and now you can see the bigger picture. So instead of sucking people into the weeds, get them to expand outwards. And then this is where all of your other skills come in because we're not one-dimensional beings. We've lived a lifetime. We've had certain experiences. Heck, I was talking to um, a peer. I was talking to a peer, and she's kind of in a different field than I am. And this is not her thing. She's not a website person, but she had her website hacked, and uh, she went through the process of getting her website back. Now, I've never had that happen to me. I'm not a securities expert, you know. It could happen to anybody. I've never had that happen to me or any of my clients, so, up until now. And so one client is saying, I have my website is down because it's been hacked and it goes to this spammy site and I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, well, I know a lot about websites, but I don't know that aspect of it. How do you get your website unhacked? And the friend of mine, the colleague, well, she didn't call herself a website expert, but she did work on her own website. And this is how this whole thing came about, was she got it hacked and then she figured out how to get back. And I'm telling my client to go and talk to her because she knows more about that particular topic than I do because she had that experience. So how many things happened to you in your life, and maybe that was a complete disaster at the time, but you worked through it and you got past it and you were able to recover from it. And now, because you had that negative experience, now you can use that to help other people with a similar experience. So there's a lot of that involved, especially when it comes to um, the world of coaching and consulting, because you're bringing all of your experiences to the table. You're bringing your richness of of being a person, of being human. You're bringing your humanity. You're bringing a richness to this table, and that is what is your unique value, because nobody is going to have all of the same experiences that you had. And so it's see, but this approach is a lot more holistic. This is like, okay, we're not just going to treat this one thing. And if you go to a doctor or a chiropractor, they're going to be like, okay, well, this is the one little point that is the problem, but because everything is interconnected, then these other things are involved over here. Like it's a kind of a chain reaction. Sometimes when you have health issues, it's kind of a chain reaction of one thing and another and another. So just going and continually treating this one little spot isn't going to be as effective as going this, and then what is this connected to? Let's treat that. Okay, what is this connected to? Let's treat that. And so on and so forth. And then you eventually fix the whole body. So take on a more holistic approach. Um, find coaches that are actually helping people and not just making themselves look important and over embellishing on things and beating a dead horse and restricting you and trying to make you trying to control you. Oof, wow. Oof. Some coaches try to control you. Mm. I've noticed this thing about control, and I might even make a whole new video on just the topic of control because there is a lot of it going on. I think there is a lot of people abusing other people. There is a lot of people sabotaging themselves because they want to be in control. That's kind of off topic, so I'm probably going to go expand on that in another video. But that is a piece of it. Is they want control over people, and that's why they got into that position. Some people get into positions of power specifically so they can control other people and get away with it. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen teachers do it. I've seen, law enforcement people do it. I've seen politicians do it. I've seen, um, a lot of business owners do it. And it's like, well, you have to really take a look and see like what is my motivation behind this? Is it because I want to be in control? And it's it's not controlling people is not solving their problems necessarily. Controlling people is not necessarily helping them in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you think that you need to control them because you know what's best, but it's not the way, in my opinion. So if you have had some negative experiences with controlling uh, narcissistic coaches who uh, who want to feel important more than they want to actually help you and solve your problems. Know that not every coach and guru out there is like that. You just happen to pick a bad one, but you don't need to continue the suffering. So if your job is to solve a problem for people, why would you be the source of more problems for them? If they're suffering or if they're struggling, why would you want them to suffer and struggle more? And I think maybe that's part of the reason why I've been resistant to a lot of coaching styles out there because I don't see a need for that. There's no reason in my world. There's a way for us to coexist harmoniously. You do you, I do me, we resonate, we build something great together. So if that sounds like a plan, let's do it. Get away from those abusive narcissistic relationships, even if they're your coach. Even if you've paid them tens of thousands of dollars, you don't have to keep going back and suffering more and more if they're not helping you move the needle and helping you solve the problem that you came to them for. So I know this was a big rant. I had to get a lot off of my chest because it's been building up as I see more and more examples of these things happening. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and have a great day.